and this is why you check. So just doing my yearly checks. I did my short setups yesterday, and now I'm doing my long setups. So I'm doing my rifles and shotguns. So as you can see, this is a little shaky, a lot shaky. So after tightening that down,
why I inspect my equipment. Hey yo, let's go. Today was one of those range days that reminds me exactly why I have a maintenance routine. If you've been following my journey, you know I make it a point to inspect all of my long setups about every 6 months. That means I'm not just confirming my zero. I'm checking my optics. I'm checking my lights. I'm checking mounting screws. I'm looking for anything that's loose, worn, or beginning to fail before it becomes a bigger problem. Now, after every range session, I do a quick inspection before I put everything away. But twice a year, I slow down and perform a much more thorough check. Today's range trip proved why that's important. While confirming zero on one of my shotguns, I noticed something wasn't quite right. As I started inspecting everything, I found the optic had worked itself loose. That's not something you ever want to discover when it actually matters. Imagine showing up to a competition, stepping onto the firing line and wondering why your shots aren't where they should be, or worse. Imagine discovering it during a defensive situation where every decision counts. Those are the moments when you don't want surprises, you want confidence. Thankfully, I found it today. A simple adjustment and I was back in business, but the inspection didn't stop there. As I continued looking everything over, I found another issue. The screws on top of the shotgun where the Picatinny rail mounts also need attention. Those will have to be removed, properly secured, and reinstalled by a qualified gunsmith before I mount the optic again. Some people might look at that and think, man, what a frustrating day. I actually see it differently. I see it as a successful inspection because the purpose of an inspection isn't to prove everything is perfect. The purpose is to find problems while they're still small enough to fix. That's a win. Preventive maintenance is always cheaper than reactive maintenance. It's a lesson that applies far beyond firearms. It applies to our vehicles. It applies to our homes. It applies to our health. And it certainly applies to our equipment. The small things matter. A loose screw, a weak battery, a mount that's beginning to shift. They're easy to overlook until they become major problems. After removing the optic, I didn't just pack everything up and call it a day. Instead, I spent some time working on another important skill, breech loading. Even though the optic was off the gun, there was still valuable training to be had. That's something I try to remind myself often. Every range day doesn't have to be perfect to be productive. Sometimes your plan changes, sometimes equipment needs attention, sometimes you adapt and continue working on another skill. Progress doesn't stop just because one part of the day didn't go exactly as planned. There's almost always something you can learn, something you can improve, something you can practice. At the end of the day, what I'm really building isn't just marksmanship. I'm building confidence. Confidence in my equipment because I inspect it. Confidence in my process because I follow a routine. And confidence in myself because I know I didn't leave anything to chance. That's why I encourage everyone to develop a maintenance schedule that works for them. Don't wait until something breaks. Don't assume everything is still tight just because it was 6 months ago. Take the time to inspect your gear, confirm your zero, check your optics, check your mounting hardware, verify your lights, replace batteries when needed. Take pride in maintaining the equipment you've invested your hard-earned money in because confidence isn't built on hope. Confidence is built on preparation, and today was a perfect reminder that preparation pays off. Sometimes the best range days aren't the ones where everything goes perfectly. They're the ones where you discover something important before it has the chance to become a serious problem. I'm grateful I found these issues today instead of on match days, or worse. In a situation where reliability truly matters, that's a lesson worth sharing. Until next time, train with purpose, maintain your equipment, trust your process. And as always, train smart, stay ready.